Welcome to G Fun Facts Online, where we dive deep into the fascinating and sometimes startling truths about our world. Today we're venturing into the wild, but not just to admire its beauty. We're exploring how the intricate dance of survival, that timeless interplay between hunter and hunted, is facing unprecedented disruptions. And as these rules of engagement change, a hidden danger is finding new, insidious pathways. Mercury. So, what's the big deal with mercury? It's a naturally occurring element, sure, but human activities like burning coal and mining have cranked up its presence in our environment. The real trouble starts when this inorganic mercury gets into aquatic systems. Tiny bacteria transform it into methylmercury, a highly toxic organic form that's much more easily absorbed by living things. Think of methylmercury as Mercury's supervillain alter ego. Once methylmercury gets into an organism, it likes to stick around, binding to proteins and accumulating over time. This is called bioaccumulation. But it gets worse. When a predator eats that organism, the concentration of the toxin gets even higher. And then a bigger predator eats that one, and the concentration jumps again. This is biomagnification, and it's why top predators, like big fish, eagles, or marine mammals, often end up with the highest, most dangerous levels of mercury. For a long time, scientists had a pretty good understanding of these mercury pathways in established food webs. Little critters absorb some methylmercury, bigger critters eat them, and so on, up the chain. The older the animal, the higher its trophic level, the more mercury it likely carried. A known danger, but one we thought we had a handle on. But here's the twist. Our planet's ecosystems are in major flux. Scientists call it novel predator-prey dynamics. Basically, new or significantly altered interactions between species. What's driving this massive reshuffle? First, climate change. Shifting temperatures are forcing animals to move to new areas, changing when they feed or breed. Think of polar bears struggling as Arctic sea ice melts, pushing them to find new food. Warming waters can also ramp up that conversion of mercury to its toxic methyl form. Then, there are invasive species. Newcomers to an ecosystem can throw everything into chaos. A new predator might wipe out native prey, or a new prey species might change what native predators eat, potentially introducing different mercury loads. Habitat alteration is another big one. Human development and deforestation can shrink or fragment habitats, forcing animals into new areas and new encounters. Even overfishing can make predators switch to different prey, which might carry more or less mercury. So when these predator-prey relationships get reshuffled, what happens to mercury's journey through the food web? Well, it can get pretty complicated, and often pretty dangerous. If predators start eating new types of prey, their mercury exposure can change dramatically. If that new prey is from a higher trophic level or lives in an area with more methylmercury, the predator's mercury burden can skyrocket. These novel interactions can also lengthen food chains. Imagine an invasive intermediate predator slotting itself into the middle. That's an extra step for mercury to get even more concentrated before it reaches the top. Animals might also have to work harder to find food if their usual meals become scarce. This extra effort, combined with potentially eating prey with different mercury levels, affects how much toxin they accumulate. And sometimes, native prey have no defense against a new invasive predator, making them easy, mercury-laden targets. Or, a native predator might not recognize that a novel prey species is packed with contaminants. Even the baseline levels of mercury are changing. Climate change can boost methylmercury production in soils and water, and thawing permafrost can release mercury that's been trapped for ages. Let's look at a few examples. In the Arctic, as sea ice vanishes, the distribution of key prey like Arctic cod changes, forcing seals and seabirds to adapt, potentially to prey with different mercury profiles. In freshwater lakes, invasive fish species can completely rewire food webs, sometimes leading to higher mercury in native fish that eat them, and it's not just an aquatic issue. Mercury also builds up in terrestrial food webs. As predators expand their ranges due to climate change, they might encounter new prey on land, altering their mercury intake. Even songbirds eating insects from contaminated soil can accumulate significant amounts. This increased mercury bioaccumulation is a silent threat with severe consequences. Methylmercury is a potent neurotoxin. It can cause neurological damage, leading to impaired coordination or abnormal behaviors. It can wreak havoc on reproduction, causing reduced fertility, fewer offspring, or developmental problems. Animals might act strangely, like birds changing their songs or parents neglecting their young. Mercury can also weaken the immune system, making animals more prone to diseases, and it can stunt the growth of young animals. These individual problems can scale up, threatening entire populations, especially when they're already stressed by habitat loss and climate change. So what can be done? Researchers are working hard to monitor how food webs are changing to predict new mercury hotspots. They're combining contaminant studies with ecology and climate science to get the full picture. Developing predictive models can help us forecast how mercury levels might change and guide efforts to protect wildlife. And, of course, reducing global mercury emissions in the first place is absolutely critical. The story of mercury in these new ecological theaters is a stark reminder of how interconnected everything is. Human activities are not just changing the climate, they're redrawing the lines of engagement between species, often with toxic results. Understanding these evolving interactions is key to protecting wildlife in this era of rapid change. Because ultimately, the health of wildlife, their environments, and our own are all deeply intertwined. Thanks for tuning in to G Fun Facts Online. Join us next time for more fascinating insights into our amazing world.